Good evening. I'm Walker Cronkskull. Tonight, rust on your blade, good, bad, or a double-edged sword, and portable graveyards and the future of mobile resting places tonight at 11. But first, let's go to the weather, as usual. This week is going to be perfectly dreary, just right for crawling out of the ground. But next week we'll see some rain, so if you're going to be doing some raising, then it's best if you did it beforehand. And now, of course, on to everyone's favorite section, sports. This week we saw 4 battles happen across Shyish again, with a mysterious riddle that appeared in the mist. Once again, our studio artist, Leonardo the Skeleton, has done a rendering. Oops, there we go. It reads, "The next portent is found down the road, in a place the living have never abided. Only the dead find strength in this abode, a place of power, a triangle 4-sided. Of course, we all know it to be everyone's favorite vacation spot, the Black Pyramid. Perfect for casting large summonings or just hanging out. Enter promo code Cronkskull News to get 15% off your first stay. First up is everyone's favorite enthralled demon, Bilescum's personal scribe. I'll warn you, it's once again a lengthy one. Bilescum felt as if he was well on his way to capturing this realm for Nurgle, and so far there didn't seem as if anything could stand in his way. That's when he sensed it. There was something strangely familiar. The hatred began to build up when Bilescum realized that it was a force of Tzeentch, Nurgle's detestable brother. "What is he doing here?" Bilescum bellowed. "This is my land to conquer in Grandfather's name." Bilescum watched as the Changer of Ways forces approached. The force was significantly larger than his own, but he could not let those who would have no respect for the cycle of life take down and destroy what he had worked so hard for over the past few weeks. Bilescum knew this is where he would stand and take on his new opponent. But if it means his death, even though it means his death, pardon me. But that's when he noticed a familiar scent in the air, which seemed to be wafting from the garden behind him. This was a powerful odor, one which even surpassed that of his own garden. That's when the trees parted and a large smile encompassed his face. The Glotkin brothers had been sent to aid him, but they were not alone. A mortal was following close behind. This could not be a normal mortal, of course, and no mortal could walk as freely through Nurgle's garden without succumbing to Nurgle's gift and his mortals. And these mortals appeared untouched, on the outside at least. The Glotkin brothers approached. As the two forces prepared to clash, Bilescum noticed 2 spots of power on the field in which he could draw upon magic power. One of the points was near him. However, the Tzeentch sorcerer had clearly noticed the other even before he had currently taken position onto his maximum, already formidable magic. Oh, to maximize, I'm sorry. Being a demon, Bilescum was very comfortable and good at using magic, but the followers of Tzeentch were obsessed with magic, so much to the point they might seem to worship it. Bilescum knew giving up the power spot close to him wasn't an option, and he must do what he can to remove the Tzeentch sorcerer from that spot, or the battle would be good as lost. The Glotkin brothers moved closer to their enemies, the 2 smaller brothers, Ethrak and Otto, riding on the back of the monstrously deformed brother Gurk. Bolts of magical skyfire rained on the brothers, hitting Gurk and causing a fair bit of damage, which was promptly healed. The plague bearers ran towards their enemy with a hatred like none other. Unfortunately, their resolve was not enough. They were promptly mowed down as the lines met. Pardon, there's a few typos in here. Bilescum looked over to see how his new champion was faring, and was not disappointed. She had engaged with another mortal who looked strikingly similar. The two forces looked so similar, he thought, that they may even have been related. Bilescum dismissed this notion, however, as his many millennia of existence on mortals all looked the same to him. So he continued to survey the battlefield. The drones on the left flank successfully managed to destroy the unit which had inflicted the damage to the Glotkin brothers and continued into the flank of the Zangor, which he had taken down with the Plague Bearers earlier, at which point the Glotkin brothers made a rush into the same unit. Bilescum then heard the battle cry the Glotkin brothers had mentioned earlier. For Bilescum! He looked over just in time to see his new champion sever the head of her opponent. This pleased him, and he decided at this point he would allow her to fight for him. The battle was turning to be an even match, and was taking too long. He realized he would have to give up this battle if he wanted to continue his mission to spread Nurgle's garden around Shyish. After all, how can one be expected to conquer Shyish if he was possibly injured, or worse? This battle would have to wait for another day. Long-winded. As usual, pardon me. Much better. Next, we have a special report from Archon's favorite lackey. The Stormcast forces moved two separate units of cavalry up either flank as the bulk of his force held down the middle. The legions of Nagash responded in kind, moving his two units of cavalry to cut them off in response, essentially mirroring the forces. The cavalry units collided on the outside of the map, each picking away at each other. Meanwhile, the bulk of the two armies began to posture in the center of the battlefield. With the right side flank cleared up for the Stormcast Eternals, they moved the remaining units into the fray in the middle. A zombie dragon devastated the left middle side of the opposite forces, making his objective obtainable in the quick future, or near future. However, this left the objective for the legions of Nagash fairly exposed to the cavalry on the opposite side, which was sure to be done with their fight soon and able to make a threatening move. With the flanks exposed, the Stormcast Eternals brought down Archon the Black. Oh no. His minions weakened. The battle looked grim for the armies of the dead. With the zombie dragon getting cleaned up, the Stormcast forces' objective became unattainable, and with one final turn left, as he was sure to seize Archon's objective, thus seizing victory. Oh, a dreadful, dreadful report. The third report is from the same dullard as last time. I'll try not to be too derisive, but no promises. A few pistol blasts take out some skeletons, but these just get back up. Skeletons rising from the ground trip up the Stonehorn. Skeleton Dragon charges Frostlord. Frostlord puts up a good fight, but dies from the ghosts. Skeleton Dragon charges Thundertusk. Thundertusk does not put up a good fight. Concise. Skeletons kill half of the Mournfang. The ghosts kill the other half. The hounds rip the Skeleton Dragon apart. The shaman and the hunter use the opportunity to escape. The skeletons overrun what was left. The shaman will need to convince a new tribe to follow him. Reasonable. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have another battle report. Oh, pardon me. I have gone in the wrong direction. Lastly, we have another page out of Neferata's diary. You know, but it was so good last time, wasn't it? I feel like we need a little mood lighting. They don't have a candle. Well, this bottle will have to do. Some bloodthirster's balls. Much better. Neferata's diary. There's a traitor in the midst. I can't be sure, but I have suspicions my necromancer has been stealing my private diary. Entries, and providing them to that Shaiish lying fake news channel. What? Once my suspicions have been confirmed, whoever it is will be exterminated by my own hand. Their cries of mercy will outlast their beating hearts. Good thing I don't have one. Nagash has surely heard of my defeat by now, and I don't have much better news to bring him. On my way to secure the grave sands, I ran into an army of dwarfs. The toughest little scums around. They swarmed me. I looked around, and the rest of my army was set back in daze, watching mouth-breathing imbeciles who barely suffered any wounds. It was I who was fired at and slashed at. I was defeated, and in my last glimpses of consciousness, I noticed at least their general was also defeated. My Morghast harbingers were not useless. The only ones in my army I can count on. However, I cannot congratulate them. It would make them complacent. Instead, I plan to burn one of my skeleton units in front of my army tonight. Or that necromancer. Someone or something needs to die. I need to strike fear into my army's heartless corpses again, to show them a death by me is a fate far worse than the dying at the hands of some Duardin scum. I heard Nagash was looking for me, but I refused to go to him on a bad run. I will wait and hopefully reach the grave sands soon, or battle again and win, so I can proudly go back with my head held high and not be laughed at by the others of my court. My dread abyssal, Nagadron, was able to get me back to my base camp. This is another failure that Nagash cannot hear about. Oh. This time I will go to greater lengths to protect my diary entries, and if so much as a word is uttered from that news channel, my next target will be easily chosen. This is quite likely fake news. Fake. Absolutely. It must be fake news. Unfortunately, we were supposed to have another report of a battle between an army of Fyreslayers and Beastclaw, but unfortunately the Fyreslayers fell into a chaos portal, never to be seen or heard from again. I guess they didn't meet the height restriction. Thank you! The portal resulted in Beastclaw victory, of course. So you know what that means, right, folks? That's right. Me, Walker Cronkskull, is gonna have to enter the fray. Oh, yeah! Can you dig it? I mean, thank you. And good night.